come unbox this Havasupai Falls rental gear with me. If you haven't been following our journey, my name is Jen. My family of 3 plus 2 dogs just relocated from Missouri to Arizona, sold our house, moved into a camper, and we want to live off of less, work a little bit less, and spend more time together as a family. My husband and I leave for Havasupai Falls literally in like 3 days, and I am so excited because it's been on my bucket list for such a long time. And since we live in a camper and since we have a 2-year-old, we didn't really think that buying all of our backpacking gear was the smoothest option for us. 1, we still have to carry our toddler. 2, we don't have any room in here for all the backpacking stuff because we have plenty of hiking stuff and camping stuff as it is. And 3, it was just a nice, easier way to do it. So this is the rental box that we got. It weighs about 28 pounds. Let's get into it and see what's inside. All of this gear came from Lower Gear Rental near Phoenix's airport. If you need rental gear for Havasupai Falls, they've been phenomenal to work with. Can't say enough good things about them. I'll put the link below to their website and be sure to check them out. If you aren't familiar with Havasupai Falls, it is a 20-mile round trip hike in the Grand Canyon. You basically do 10 miles down and then you spend 3 nights in the campground or at the lodge, and then you do 10 miles back up. This is our first backpacking trip and it's taken a lot of planning. We have a dehydrator that we are learning how to dehydrate meals with. We've had to obviously prepare for this physically, and just a lot of logistics as far as like what we need to bring and what we're going to do with our toddler while we're gone. Now obviously when you're backpacking, you don't want to carry a ton of stuff with you because everything that you have will be on you. So this is like the bare minimum necessities for like what we need to sleep, what we need to eat, and we'll show you some things that we got outside of this rental gear too. Okay, let's dive right in. We have 2 bladders, which I'm super thankful for because we have bladders in our hiking backpacks and they just happen to break. So I'm really happy we don't have to buy new ones right now. We can literally just use these. Next, we have protective food sacks. We basically, all the food, once we get to our campground, we have to put it in here. And then that way, when we're sleeping and things like that, the animals won't get in them. We have 2 sleeping pads. So these are super crucial because otherwise you're just literally laying on the ground, and especially when it's cold, you can wake up to a wet ground. So this will protect us from being wet and it'll make it a little bit more comfortable to sleep. Next, we have 2 sleeping bags. So if you're not familiar with it, sleeping bags are rated for different temperatures, and these are like their main sleeping bags, which are pretty much good up until like about 30-40 degrees, I believe. And hopefully this will be good enough because it's definitely supposed to be chilly at night, but we're going to bring extra layers and stuff too. Now I have a trick for sleeping in the cold, which is really weird and it's going to sound totally like opposite of what you should be doing, but I take almost all of my clothes off when I'm sleeping in the cold, and I do that for a couple reasons. I put my clothes, I don't just like take my clothes off and then like leave them outside or whatever. I'll take those clothes and put them in the bottom of my sleeping bag so they get nice and warm overnight. And then when you're with somebody, obviously body heat is very good. So I'm able to, like, if my husband and I both do that, we're kind of able to help warm each other up a little bit while making sure that our clothes are warm for the morning. And it's one of those things too where if you have all of your clothes on, like all of your options, all of your layers, and then you're still cold, you don't have anything else to do. But if you can get your body to adapt with less and then you still feel cold or the temperature drops or things like that, then you have things to add on, which is really, really nice too. Okay, sorry if you hear noise in the background. My son is playing in his room with some like musical instruments and stuff. But next we have our stove and our pot. So this is all for cooking. So they could not ship the propane bottles. So we got our own propane bottles, which I'll show you. And then this basically hooks onto the top of it. You turn it on and then you put water in here and it'll start boiling the water, and then you just put your meals or coffee or whatever in here. So they did have the option to pick this stuff up from the store. And if you do that, you can pick up propane bottles from them. But this is just what we got because they had to ship it to us. And there's some stuff in here. Let's see. So we got 2 headlamps, which I will also be bringing our own headlamps, I think. And these, we had to get extra batteries for them too that they recommended. But headlamps are really important. They estimate that you take about 4 to 6 hours on the way down and about 5 to 7 hours on the way up. So therefore some people are starting before the sun goes up so they can just take their time, see the sunrise, things like that. So even if you don't plan on like walking around a lot once the sun goes down when you're camping, these could be really good if you're trying to hike in some odd hours. If you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button below. Next, we have this Garmin, and this is like an add-on to our rental kit. This didn't really come with it, but they have like a bunch of other add-on items that you can get. So this is basically to help us with GPS. So if worse comes to worse, in case of emergency, people can know where we are. This, I believe, is also for food protection, but I'm not 1000% sure, not gonna lie. Next, we have 2 sets of trekking poles. So I have a love-hate relationship with these. I feel like I'm always using my hands, partially because I'm always filming and things like that. And between like filming and drinking water, like you have your water on your back, but even just to grab the straw, like I feel like I'm always using my hands. So trekking poles, for the most part for me, become more of a hassle, more of a burden than they are helpful. But for a hike like this, they're going to be really, really good. And it's nice because, as you can see, they fold up really small. So if you're not using them, you can just throw them on your backpack. But it's really nice to have these, especially on the way up. I have used these on one other hike before. It was Grinnell Glacier at Glacier National Park. So these definitely can be really helpful for the long and tedious and challenging hikes. I just hope that they don't feel like they're in the way. Next, we have our backpacking tent. This is so nice. We were like torn. We were trying to figure out like if we were going to get our own gear. We're like, oh, how much of our own gear could we bring? If we were bringing our own tent, it would have been like 3 times the size of this and 3 times the weight of this. This is really compact and really small. So I am thankful that we just went ahead with the rental gear because this is going to make a big difference for us. Next, we have, and last I believe, we have our 2 backpacks. So I'm super thankful. They wanted to know which backpacks we wanted to be for males and which ones we wanted to be for females. So you can tell already whose backpack is whose because one is just smaller than the other. So this one is actually smaller and thinner. I believe this is a 60 liter. So this is the one that I will be using. And then this one is wider, taller, and I believe it's 75 liters. So this is the one that Tyler will be carrying. I do not know how they got all of this to fit in this one box to ship it to us. Okay, so we purchased a bunch of other things also. So some of the things that we got on top of it was, these are the propane canisters that I was talking about. So this is how we're going to cook the food. So we got 2 of these. They said 1 should be enough, but I don't want to like run out of like propane to be able to cook our food. So we got 2 of these just in case. Next, we did get a hiking specific first aid kit. So this will be really good. And I was really impressed with how small it is too. We got extra batteries for the headlamps. And then the amount of things we had to bring for footage is crazy. So it's supposed to rain for a day, unfortunately. So I got a waterproof phone case. We got a selfie stick, and we have like a knockoff GoPro, and then we have this like solar powered battery pack to make sure that all of our stuff stays charged. My intention was initially to bring a big camera, and I haven't decided for sure if I'm doing that yet or not, but just in case, I wanted to make sure that my phone and my GoPro knockoff were ready to go because that camera adds a lot of extra weight. We also have an Amazon package that's arriving today. It has 2 camping pillows, 2 camping chairs, 2 water filtered bottles. Like you put the water in the bottle, when you drink through the straw actually filters the water out. So when we go like near creeks and stuff, we can actually just drink out of the creeks. And then like we have a thing of silverware. So basically forks, spoons, knives, cups, bowls, and plates. This whole thing is really a balancing game because you don't want to bring too much to the point where your hike is miserable, but you also don't want to end up 10 miles away from civilization and realize you're missing something really important. So I hope that this is everything we need. I feel really good about it, and we'll see how this goes. That's it. If you are watching this video, it is scheduled for one of our days in Havasupai Falls. So if you are watching it the day that it comes out, we are in the middle of the Grand Canyon, hopefully having the time of our lives. We cannot wait to come back with all the footage to show you. We will teach you everything that we learned, teach you all the trail tips that we learned along the way as well, tell you some funny stories, and I hope that we just have a phenomenal experience, and we cannot wait to share it with you all. Be sure to follow our journey. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, you name it, and we share everything about camper life, life on the road, traveling, different travel destinations. And we just are so thankful for the community that we've been able to build online. We cannot wait to show you guys what we're up to next. We have a huge summer assignment that we cannot wait to tell you guys about, and just follow along and see what we're up to next.